thank you all for joining. As many of you know, this is the Sin City Programmers Meetup, and we cover all things software, AI, really programming in general. My name is Justin Otero. I'm one of the hosts here, as well as Joshua Stacy, and today we're very fortunate to have Greg Sklar here, and he's going to be talking through really machine learning being a life changer, but he has 20 years of experience. He had been studying AI, LLMs for a long time now, so like I said, we're very grateful for him to come share his experience. But, having said that, we're really fortunate to have any guest speaker come, whether you want to share what you're learning or you have deep expertise in a specific topic. That's all welcome. So you can always find myself or Joshua on LinkedIn or here. And if you want to come talk, we're more than happy to have you for one of our sessions. But I do want to give the stage to Greg so he can introduce himself more properly. And again, thank you for coming here and just speaking to everybody.
Cool. Thanks, Justin. Hey, I appreciate you guys all coming out today. This is my first time doing a talk about this forever, since the beginning of time. So I appreciate you guys even just being here and listening and letting me go through this. I've been working on AI like Justin said, and thanks for Josh and Justin, Sin City Programmers, and Tech Alley for putting this together. But I've been working on AI for too long, it feels like. And it's a fascinating time that even people understand what it is at all and that they're using it. So I started in the philosophical and ethical side of it. We were working on an entertainment project actually for the Sphere. And it was before anyone even believed that the Sphere was possible. So what we created at that time was the ideology of the prophetic future of artificial intelligence through an entertainment experience. What came out of that was my work in artificial intelligence, and I'm going to bring you through where we are today in that process and then give some notes on where we're looking to go. So I call it Muggles and Magicians, the machine learning life changer. The idea here is that many of us who are programmers and understand the technological reality is that we are the magicians of this world. And many people still look at their cell phones and think that it may be some kind of magic consciousness coming through that they don't understand. Just like back in the day, if someone created a fire but no one knew how to create fire yet, they could walk up to that fire and think it was some kind of magic. But in reality, there was some very simple physics and chemistry going on there. So what I'm going to be looking at today and bring you guys through is my process that got me here. And what I want to kind of explain is the metaphor that I use is the difference between organic food and GMO processed food. So I'm a naturalist, and I started my career in environmentalism. And I started in 1999 was our first tech company. So we worked on video on the internet, which at that time people said would never happen. It seems to be kind of a thing these days. So back then what some people call prophesize now, but back then we were telling people that everyone would be walking around with a video camera and be able to upload immediately, and anyone in the world could actually see that. Again, there were very few people that believed that reality would ever happen. I went and did my studying for how the human mind worked and to actually be able to define humanity in relationship to the modern world and the digital realm. I did that at the final and last indigenous place on our planet that had never been taken over by colonizers in Western Samoa. I learned to speak both Western Samoan languages, the chief language, as well as the dialect of the people. And I was able to do my research similar where Margaret Mead went and did her research back long before that, the kind of core base of anthropological research. So what I was able to do from there is pull my research out and utilize that for artificial intelligence, which we're going to look at today. So that is kind of my basis around where I come from and my perspective around it. I see a lot of people talking about artificial intelligence and the fears and the whatnot. To me, those are muggles talking about the fears of the great magical fire that is this unknown thing that could get totally out of control and burn down every house and burn down everything in the whole entire universe. And how could anyone possibly control this fire? But here we are thousands of years later controlling fire. So those are the ethical guardrails that I look at around ethical artificial intelligence. And I call it natural intelligence. So the human being is the natural intelligent being that is on our planet. I mean no disrespect to the dolphins and whales and other animals that may have what could be considered a higher natural intelligence, but we're working with a pretty serious one. And artificial intelligence is a reflection of our work as intelligent beings. So the perspective that I'm coming at around this is how to control and co-create with artificial intelligence without losing your humanity. So whatever your strategy in life is, if that's a personal strategy or a business strategy, it's how can we utilize this technology in order to execute that strategy? Similar to when Photoshop came out or YouTube came out. How did that execute our strategy as individuals to survive and thrive on the planet? That may be starting an AI business. I ran an incubator where we started 150 different projects, and I strongly believe in entrepreneurship. I think that this time period is one of the most interesting time periods in humanity since the advent of the horse. I'm personally a big horseman, and I always use the metaphor of horsemanship, because when humanity moved from being two-legged to being four-legged on a horse, basically humanity was able to start taking over the entire world, for good or for worse. But it was one of the largest changes in the technological, spiritual, religious, agricultural, war, and also societal changes in basically all of human experience until the digital realm. So the digital realm that we're looking at right now is within the past 20, 30 years, we've seen these businesses explode. We've seen all of the things in our lifetime that it is extremely rare that such a dynamic change will happen again on our planet for a long time. So we are the pioneers of this. We're the ones that have seen the MySpaces become the tribes, become the Facebooks. We've seen the real players become the YouTubes. Everyone's shaking their head. We all know all of this. It's incredible that our generation has actually been here to experience playing Nintendo. And now we can see the Grand Prix, incredible video games that are out there in virtual reality video games, Ready Player One. It's an incredible time to actually be alive and be able to be creating the technology as the magicians in the room. So I say that just ideologically, the first and foremost thing is to join the Kingdom of Natural Intelligence, Co-op for a Better Humanity. And the way, this is not me selling this, this is me saying that this is a personal choice. So the talk that I'm giving is about being able to control your own interaction with artificial intelligence. Artificial Intelligence 1.0 was a black box behind a black curtain in order to control and force upon the human being thoughts and advertising in order to push into a direction using a psychodynamic ideology of who that individual is. So we would say, oh, I kind of like eating at this restaurant, and maybe I like this kind of cheetah over here, this picture of that cheetah in Africa. And then all of a sudden, Facebook, Instagram, Google started to create psychoprofiles of who you are, telling you who you are, telling you what you should do, how you should do it, why you should do it, and when you should do it. That's the Muggle mentality. So the idea that I'm working with is how to get out of that mentality and how to be a programmer and a magician to help others to get out of that mentality. Theoretically, we are also the matrix generation. So the idea is like how to free people from that matrix ideology. The use of artificial intelligence for work and personal, I'm going to give some examples here. How to understand robotics. Robotics is very simple, it's patterns. And how to understand the human being can also be considered simple. We move through the world in a non-patterned reality. Now, this is something that is in stark contrast with artificial intelligence and the digital age, is that the digital age is currently designed in order to keep people within a pattern. So this goes back in through basically the experience of humanity through slavery and through the use of human beings and animals and land to be able to control from a higher perspective and patternize those below you so that they can be subordinate, they can also make you money, that you can use their time and energy in order to become more powerful. So the human being was not designed to do that, I do not believe. I believe the human being was designed to be a non-patterned individual and unique and creative. And what that means is that we should be able to experience the outer world, how our senses take in the outer world. We should be able to feel how that intuitively affects us in the moment of where we are in our lifespan. We should be able to assign our values to that, our choices of what options we have in the world. Can I touch this? Can I touch this? Can I move this way? Can I create a choice? The decision that we actually make to be able to reach out and touch something and move something, and then the action that we do in the real world. Now, the feedback that comes back from that is how we learn, how we educate ourselves, and how we move through the world. It may sound simple, but to be able to use this for the human being's interaction with artificial intelligence is the work that I do. So we're just going to bring up here real quick and show you what I call the kingdom of natural intelligence. It is considered a co-op. So the idea is to ensure humanity through elegant AI. And what that means to me is to be able to ensure that humans remain with the capability to be able to be creative, not just being told that we can be free and creative, but to actually be able to have minds that still do this. So right now I believe that there's 2.5 billion requests on ChatGPT per day. That's just ChatGPT. So I'm guessing that we're looking at probably about 5 billion requests just per day on single stream AI 1.0. That means that single stream AI 1.0s over 5 million times a day are entering into a human being's mind and telling that human being what to think or what to do or how to do it. Now, whether that mind actually believes it or not is a different story. But the human being is interacting with the computer, not with other human beings, and being creative and open to ideology. So I created what we call the elegant AI design. I'll read this. And what that stands for is editable output. So anytime that we interact with artificial intelligence, we should be able to edit it. That's very simple. When you say to Alexis or Alexa, that you say to Alexa, hey, Alexa, I want to listen to Metallica right now. No, wait, I want to listen to whale sounds. Alexa should listen to you and make that change. Very simple. Loyal, it should be loyal to the user as opposed to an outside force that is paying for it, that should be advertising, so on and so forth. Explainable, that anytime that the artificial intelligence actually gives an example, Perplexity is really good at this. If anyone's used Perplexity, it's actually showing as it's popping up where it's pulling information from. So you could see usually the 1 to 15 different websites that it's bringing information in from. I could kind of go through the different AIs, but each one has a different way of doing that, depending on how deep into the back end that you are. Guardrails, this is where we say, just like a bowling alley, hey AI, in this situation, you cannot do this, and you cannot do this, what you cannot do and should not do. And then active AI is what I call active AI, human in the loop. You may have heard of human in the loop. And what that means, and I'll show you in our example here, is that the human should always be able to interact in the process that the artificial intelligence is going through in order to make an action. Prior to the action is made, the human should maintain in the loop. Instead of just saying, hey, AI, I'm hungry. These are actually my AI bears. We have a project called uHUMN that I'll just touch on real quick. But as an example, if I was to talk to one of my AI bears, this is Charlie and Awala, the koala. But I should be able to say, hey, I'm hungry, and they should be able to interact with me and ask me questions about that and have it be an active experience, not just all of a sudden have Taco Bell show up at my door. I'm not sponsored by Taco Bell. Natural logic. So this is where I go really deep into my research, which is called the VCDA Natural Language Codex, which I created out of my research in Samoa and when I came back into America and just traveled the world doing some of this work. But the natural logic is basically on what you saw earlier, the values, choices, decisions, actions. So what this means is that the AI should match the way that the human being thinks. And it shouldn't be creating its own magical reality of creating its own determining outputs based on an unknown process. It should be following the way that we as humans think, and that is the safest way for artificial intelligence to continue forth. And lastly, it should teach in real life skills. So in stark contrast to artificial intelligence 1.0, the goal was to keep the human being inside of the computer as long as possible for as many hours as possible and utilize the consciousness of the human being unethically for as long as possible. We have seen the unfortunate and terrible effects of this, which I don't need to go into the details, and it doesn't necessarily affect everyone, but the fact that it is affecting most people on our planet is unfortunate, and that it probably affects everyone in some way. So we are living through a time period where humans, unfortunately, are not being convinced, or maybe convinced is not the right word, but suggested to interact with each other. We're being suggested to interact with computers more so than not. So good things like today, for instance, is that like we're all able to get out of our houses and come and meet each other and talk with each other and spend time with other human beings. And I do strongly believe that that's a big part of the reason that we're on this planet during our lifetime, is to be able to interact with other human beings and interact with nature. So that's where some of the philosophy comes from. And you can feel free to kind of poke around on our website here and get some more information along those lines. As I pull up Wonprompt, which is actually what we're going to be looking at today, are there any questions so far? Okay, great. So if anyone wants to follow along and do this on your own laptop now or later, is fine, but I'm going to do a little workshop here to explain how we have taken some of these philosophical, did you have a question? Sorry. No. Okay. Philosophical and ethical ideas, and then created an AI 2.0 program. Just as I have experienced in the past that sometimes people are like, what, that's never going to happen. I don't understand. Like I was telling you earlier, at CES this year, the NVIDIA CEO, his talk was on how multimodal artificial intelligence is going to be the next thing. So we've been working on this for about a year. This is a...
You're showing it on?
What's that? Can you see it?
Is it some URL? I'm just not familiar with this.
Oh, it's Wonprompt.ai,
Okay.
and it's spelled one, W-O-N, like I won.
That's the perfect way to say it.
Thanks. I really wanted Wonprompt, at first, but I was a little bit too late for that one. So I was like, what are we going to call it? Or call it hopscotch. I might just copy the whole thing and then also make a hopscotch AI, because you'll see it's kind of the way that we interact is like in a hopscotch style board.
Yeah.
So this is our sign in and whatnot. Basically, that's pretty self-explanatory. You've got your light and dark. I don't know what's easier on up here.
It's going to be easier here.
Light. Yeah, it's funny. I feel like we all are like, oh, the only time we use light is in the theater.
100%.
Okay. For those of you who have not signed in, you're going to have an email, which you're going to have to go and verify. And then I'm going to sign in right here. Okay, and now we are going to jump into some AI 2.0 ideology. So first and foremost is that each person should be able to create their own, and the best way that I'm going to explain this is using the language that right now human beings are using right now, which is prompting. So if you think about this as 3 different layers of prompts. So this is your personal system prompt. So this means that I'm a good person. My spelling, artificial intelligence has helped me with spelling and editing. So yes. So this is my personal default. And again, I remind each of you that the way that we interact with artificial intelligence in my theory that I'm trying to share is that it should work for you. So you should be able to tell it whatever you want. You could say that you're the king of the universe. You could say that you are the queen of the universe. Like you could say that whatever you want, that AI should be loyal to you and who you are. So that's saved. Just going to check out of that. And then what we have here are personalities, scenes, and forms. So today I'm going to use the example of this scene. So this scene, if you think about artificial intelligence in a way that the human being, the user, should be the director, similar to directing a play or a movie. You should not be an actor and be responding and at the bay of technology. That's the Muggle ideology. The magician ideology, after we've gone to, even if this is some of our like many years in the Hogwarts experience, or this is just kind of our first entry into the Hogwarts experience. This is for programmers, this is for enthusiasts of AI, this is for basically any user of artificial intelligence. The idea here is that we control it. So that's the main thing I want to be able to get across. The description is for you, the user. So if you imagine you have multiple different scenes, I think about how when we were all in school, we had multiple different classes. So it was math and then reading and then science and then gym, for instance, and then we had our hobby. When it comes to artificial intelligence, as we move forward into AI 3.0 and robotics in the real world, we should be able to determine a scene. So if we have a robot that, for instance, lives with us or comes around with us, whatever we want to call that, we should be able to say, robot, now we're going out with our friends and I need you to jump to scene, which is friends, as opposed to work. Because sometimes the human being, we naturally, when we enter into a friend space, we speak differently, we have different values, and I call that the value matrix. So the value matrix changes as we go throughout our day. When we wake up in the morning, we have a certain actual set of values. I need to do X, Y, Z in order to get out of the house. Those are my values. And then when we're at work, we may have a certain set of values in personal with family and personal with friends, so on and so forth. So the human being is constantly directing their own reality and moving from scene to scene to scene. This is giving the person the ability to actually control that. Hashtags are actually to help other people find your scene. Let's see, I always like to use unicorns as a great example, but this one is natural intelligence. Personality 1. So these are the actors in your scene that will be actually assigned to a multi-model universe. What that means is that the actors that are on the set of your AI, using that metaphor, you'll be able to plug them into each different AI. So you could plug them into Claude, or you can unplug Claude and plug them into Gemini, or so on and so forth. but the personality is the layer that you're actually putting onto that. So in this example, I'm giving AI governance king and AI governance queen of my own world in here. So I want to be able to govern my experience of artificial intelligence. Form.
The hierarchy between king and queen.
So these are actually, you'll see that when we talk, there is no, that's a great question, by the way. There is no, I did not
So
create.
You could make some funny Easter eggs on that.
Yeah, oh man, thank you for bringing up the Easter eggs.
Right, like the
Yeah,
king is in charge of everything, but the queen can override once every third operation or something like that.
exactly. Yes, thank you. The fact that, okay, I spent just to take a quick tangent for a second, a little side quest here into the Easter egg universe. When I first was working on this project, I was, building it out with so many Easter eggs just for fun, and then remembering at some point that I still hadn't really shared this with other people, and no one would even understand that. So, thank you for even bringing that up. So I was creating the Easter eggs for myself, so yes, thank you for noticing. Yeah. Okay, so but in order to do that, you would go into your personality studio. And then, so this is the AI governance king. You're the ruler of your own AI governance model, which is the description. And then the personality prompt, for instance, we can add in here a guardrail, which is the queen can overrule like one time per conversation. So we can update that personality right there. And then, and then the queen, she is awesome.
Give her some edict about when she overrides, some rhythm to it.
Give me an example.
Like if she thinks the king is being boring or something
The
like that.
queen
It's too repetitive. Things are too boring and she needs to spice it up.
Can override if the
Predictable.
king is being
Stable code base, she can't handle that.
predictable and boring.
The destabilization that can.
She is that she's being
She's a destabilization.
she is a destabilization.
I guess the rest of the conversation is trying
I'm sorry?
Can the queen's override be to have permanent override?
Sure, yeah.
Maybe. We can see if it tries it.
Yeah, so in that case, that's actually a really great question. So to do a permanent override, and actually one way that we would, we were gonna have to do some experimenting here, but so we can put it in the personality studio as one place, and then see how that goes. Whoops.
Oh, yeah.
Or we can put it in as a layer on. So like if I wanted to be able to always have the queen override, I would go into my personal defaults and say that the queen should always be able to override the king. Yeah. Oh man, thank you guys already for understanding this. It's like when we're coding, it's like, I don't know if anyone's gonna understand what the heck I'm talking about.
That's why the robots are there.
Thank you. So, yeah. So we're gonna update that personality.
It's gonna be a coup.
I mean, like, what if the king becomes sick, he's unable to, so you want someone to be able to have, what is it called, Shelley? Power of attorney kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can do that in two ways. So hopefully you get a chance to play with this at home. Right now it's totally free and everything. But so we're gonna go to the scene here. And what I would play with is putting that into the scene setup prompt versus into your overall prompt. See how they play out, and then also into each personality and see how they play out too. Because we'll play with some cool, fun stuff here, but we're just going to put it everywhere for right now.
Of course, the king is always in control.
Well, he might have to fight back, right? If the queen overrules, then how does the king over?
Right, we're just going to override the king if she decides, and how about and explains for right now?
We're gonna put some guardrails on.
So we'll get, and this goes back, yeah, we're gonna put,
Just be straight crazy.
right, yeah, it's a
Get
good,
nuts.
so and explains her reasoning. Yeah, and however he can appeal.
And it's better than season 8 unsold.
Is that a GOT? Okay. So then we go update scene, prompt example. All right, so let's start a chat so I can start to share what hopscotch is here. So personality 1, when it comes to scene, the way that we've designed this is personality 1 is on the left, personality 2 is on the right. We are I think I'll probably kind of gray them out in there so you know which is which, but that's one of our UI bugs at the
I've
moment.
been doing a lot of self-hosting lately. I'm assuming you have option for like small parameter models, like the 4, 8, and 13 billion, or no? Is it just cloud?
We have these models. So basically oh wait, hold on. Yeah, we have Minstrel. So when you're signed in, we have these right now, but we've just kind of been changing them around. But any ones that you want, just let me know and
Yeah.
we'll add them in.
Well, I've just been benchmarking stuff locally. This would be a cool way to see when it gets weird, especially because in my testing with the smaller models, they're very friendly, but it's like a stupid friend. Like,
Yeah.
can't follow the story, but is on your team.
Yeah, they're like, you're awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, Nano. Yeah, sometimes it's fun to like have Nano talk to Minstrel Small. Yeah, it depends on what I'm working on. It depends on my scene, you know? So, and I usually have it open on a separate screen. So I feel like most of us in the magical world are at the point where 2 screens isn't enough. It's the whole array these days. Yeah, it's like post your array. So as an example, what is the most important part of the natural intelligence reality? So this is just your normal prompt down here. And then over here we have, so you can send as a comparison, which is my response to early AI in 2004. And, when they first started to come out on the internet, I would have, like multiple different windows open and, then I'm like copying and pasting and seeing what this one does versus this one does. And they're just like, oh my gosh, we need to just have this all in one place. So we send as a comparison. Up here on top, we have a reminder, if you will, of what your prompt was, and then just your normal responses, but they're side by side. So the side by side comparison was our first feature that we designed into this. And then depending on what I'm using this for, I won't bore everyone with just reading what Claude and Grok have to say. But the idea is that I would read through these and then determine, and now we're going back to Elegant AI, determine me as the human being in the hopscotch AI 2.0 reality. I am making the decision as to which AI I like best, which answer. So what is really been hard for me to watch is humanity taking this single AI approach and just having these conversations with a single AI and then responding to other human beings about what their AI said or using that AI's perspective for their work. Even in early search engines like we had with Alta Vista, Yahoo, with Google, and even today, Google still gives us, you can go through hundreds of pages of responses and as the human being, make your choice. What is entirely dangerous, and going back to the fire idea, is a Muggle ideology thinking that this is magic and that there is just one fire and you just get closer and closer until you walk into that fire because that fire is drawing you in. No, 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 no. You should know that this fire was created. You can make your own fire over here with the right tools. Welcome. We've been waiting for you. Thank you for showing up. And so what happens in this moment is that the human being actually gets to decide. So the human being can say, oh, you know what? I read both of these, and Claude's answer was better. So now Claude has been chosen. And then we continue forth and say, wow, that's so interesting. Does it mean that elegant AI is actually a cool thing? So now I have a new option. So I can send this as a single. So similar to a hopscotch, you can go single if you want. That's my big hopscotch move. So you can do that, send it as a single. And what this does is it actually creates, similar to a tree branch, it actually now branches out and has your conversation with Claude. The important thing here is the active human in the loop must continue to maintain their decision, even if they decide to stay with Claude in this conversation and the personality that they assigned, it's still their decision. Or they can go back and say, oh, I don't like where Claude's taking this. Just like imagine me talking to my two AIs over here and I've asked them both the same question, just like I was standing in a group of people. And Awala gives me an answer and I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. Tell me more. And then I'm like, wow, that is not really where I wanted to go with this conversation. Hey, Charlie, what do you think? And Charlie says to himself, oh yeah, what about this? Oh yeah, and I say, you know what, Charlie, I really wasn't going to go that direction, but what about this? And then Charlie and I actually start to have a good conversation. So that's the idea with this. And then I can say, wow, that is what you think about elegant AI. And then I can go back in the hopscotch and then continue the conversation that I was having with my single stream over here. In this case, it's GPT and personality 2, and then have a comparison. Any questions about that? Okay, so basically what I've done in this moment is create two tree branches of my conversation. Now, what I can do, and hopefully it's not too confusing. Now, I go back to the root of go back to the center of the tree, and now I'm going to actually move towards the Claude conversation. So I just said, oh, that's really interesting, GPT. Let me think about that. I'm going to actually continue that conversation now with Claude. Claude has this to say. Now, us both listening to Claude, what if we say, I thought that in real life, skills was not cool. So now I'm going to show this third button, which is one of our favorites, but I really don't know how much it's going to get used out in the real world. This kind of goes into what you were talking about, which actually gives me great hope for this button, is that the dialogue between like the king and the queen, we can actually see that dialogue happen. So this is a dialogue. We first built this button as a debate, and we had a lot of fun with that. However, now it is dialogue because I don't know if anyone's played with Ship or Die, but has anyone played with Ship or Die? Nonetheless, we decided to go with something more peaceful and calm, dialogue versus debate, which was the two AIs saying, no, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, no, you have no idea what you're talking about. So now our goal is that they both find a way to actually agree with each other, and that they can communicate with each other along the way and come to a conclusion for basically their hopscotch experience. How are we doing on time? We're good? Yeah, go ahead.
In the use case of someone
Wow. Thank you. That's a great question. And when I started to do this as a founder, so I feel like this is kind of like a founder support group sometimes. But when I started to use this as a founder, I had one of those moments of building a product that I thought to myself, wow, other people can totally use this. Like, this is really helpful. So for instance, I'm actually gonna, I don't know if you have within your mind, what is your startup, if you don't mind? Or do you have?
Right now, we're working on a prenup program.
Prenup? Like for marriages?
Yes.
Oh, hello. Yes, exciting. No, that's cool.
There's more nuance to it.
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to my mind is let's have what I would do is I would create two personalities. First, I would create the scene, which is this is a prenup. Give them basically an understanding, and then how much legal jar is it that you want them to actually create contracts, or is it that you want them to just like draft ideas, and that you would do that first in your scene. Give them as much information about your business as possible. Then you create your personalities. I would actually create, and I do use this term in this case because it's safe to call the computers multi-personality orders. The idea is to create as many personalities that a business would have in the room. So that could be the going to get married husband, the going to get married wife, the going to get married wife's father, let's say, or parents, and then the going to get married other, family as well, whatever we want to call that. And then an attorney, you can create that. And then do you guys consider yourself, are you attorneys or consultants? And then a consultant, let's say, that has a similar ideology as you, as the CEO or
Founding member.
the founding design member. So yourself as the founding design member, as well as what I do, and this is what I'm trying to get to, is just my idea of maybe someone that I would hire or a consultant, and I can even go to their website and get some ideas or ask and say, can you give me ideas of what a personality of a consultant who maybe even has a different personality than I do. And to give you an example of this, I do that with the Kingdom of Natural Intelligence. And what I'll do is I'll create personalities that are actually think that AI should take over the world and there should be no trees and there should be no human interaction, and see what that has to say and see how those interact with each other. It's an extreme example. That's why I didn't want to really go into mine. But it actually helps me at times to think through conversations that maybe I otherwise wouldn't have.
So one other thing on that one in particular, it might be interesting to take it like a bride and groom and have them do their sort of discussion on points of conflict and storyboard it out for content. So that way you've got, it might be interesting.
Oh, that's actually even a great idea to expand on, is you could have the bride and groom send you a real email of, hey, this is just generally my values. So I go back into the value, choices, decisions, actions. And then that's kind of like nonviolent communication in a way. So instead of saying just like, hey, how many chickens and hogs and cows do you believe that you should have if the marriage fails, And it's like, I believe that I should retain 3 of my chickens, And so instead of that, it's more like, what do you value? Okay? Well, I value very much my dairy because my family started the dairy, and that is my strongest value. And it's like, well, how much do you value your breakfast diner? Oh, I don't care about that at all. So, okay, whatever happens with the chickens and the eggs, maybe, that'll get worked out later versus not. So actually have the values, choices, decisions, actions. The choices are really important to say, okay, what choices do you have? Well, can you choose between like 0 and 1,000 cows? No. How many cows do you have at the start here? We have 3 cows. Okay, so there's really like only so many choices within that. Does that give a?
So my understanding is I can have different people with different personalities and bounce my ideas off. Rather than having to have actual physical users. I want to see essentially creating this persona that actually talks back.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like creating your own use cases. So depending on where you are in the startup, it sounds like pretty early stage. Yeah, so pretty early stage. You can create on your website, for instance, one use case that I would suggest considering would be to go through that entire process on here with your different personalities and the outcomes, and then even show, maybe not on your website or as a designer, however you think the best way to do this would be, you could have it as an example to say, this is the process we're going to take you through. And it's a non-violent, non-emotional process, although emotions may come into it because we're humans, but this is the best that we can do. So you're going to give me your thoughts in this structure of the VCDA structure. You're going to give me yours in this VCDA structure, just like here in this examples. And I would personally use the old school chickens and cows because I think it kind of disarms people in that particular space as opposed to, like... Oh, sure. Let's go. Yeah. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I'm in.
It kind of gives an unbiased opinion where, like maybe the woman is not, if it's so, the women aren't favoring the women and the men aren't favoring the men. You get like, a even outlook over the board.
Absolutely. And then what I would do in an ideal situation would be to actually then play with, just to make sure that things felt. So when a couple of years ago, without getting into the details, I was involved in some very deeper, serious, ethical AI stuff. And one of the things that, before people really started to use AI, the fear was bias, right? So is it bias about race? Is it bias about gender? Is it bias about this and that? And the truth is that they are all biased in ways. So what my theory is to say, okay, and and everyone's sitting there grinding, how do we make them not biased? And it's like that doesn't work that way. So here's my 3i Atlas communicator as an example, if anyone knows what that is. This is my, I'm a nerd. So
keep waiting for it to fly by, man.
Dude, tell me about it.
We're out in our hot tub, we're looking up, like, is that nah.
That's it. But to answer your question, what I would do is really, in that case, really play with the models, and I would feel the power in yourself of saying that you're going to be as fair as you can in your personalities, because that's really what it comes down to, is a human being stepping in and saying, you know what, I think I'm going to be more fair than some CEO of some AI company that we will never meet, that's raising money here and there, whatever. We have no idea what's in the back. And some of my early testing of some of the models out there, the things that I was getting back, I am so incredibly disappointed at what the core basis was for a lot of AI 1.0 that was out there. And it was copying and pasting things that I could find on the internet that are not only biased, but in my opinion, disgusting and wrong. And that's the concern. That's someone standing on the fire, come into the fire, it's magic. It's a magical fire, and it's like, no, it's not. That voice needs to, in my opinion, not be so loud. So that's where the power goes back to that NVIDIA CEO's chat. He seems to be a guy these days. So is the multi-model language model, because we might find that, whoa, Claude is really leaning this way and towards the bride every time, I just want to see if anyone would go towards the groom. Oh, look at that. Oh, whoa, Grok. Well, the guys that built that. But okay, but let's see what the French have to say. So it's really it can be a beautiful time in AI if we use it in what I consider to be a magical multi-model way, and take the power back, take the control. Thank you. So Oh, I wanted to go over forms really quick. So while we jumped onto 3i Atlas real quick, I'm going to give you a form example. The form example was designed for, let's see, I think like last year, the National Association of Broadcasters show. I created it for a project of, it was another aha moment in this whole process of saying, oh, whoa, human beings may need a little bit of support for prompting. So like, cool, let's create a tool to be able to kind of, already say for a new user, so here we're the magician now creating this entire AI world, and this is all embeddable, so you can embed everything on your own website. But the idea is that then a user who has no idea what we're talking about and wasn't in this room and did not listen to this talk comes to one of your guys' website, if you use this, or our website or whatnot, and they say, oh, Wonprompt.ai, what's that? I want to learn about 3i Atlas. And the idea is that I want them to ask questions about 3i Atlas. So it may be a simple concept, but the idea here is that that's what forms are. So similar to Google Forms in a way. So you can create your own form element, a text. Let's see. Text is just going to be, I know this should be drag and drop, but we didn't. Please? Yeah. Yeah, totally. We kind of like, we built forms like before vibe coding was a thing, and now like you.
The old code bases now, we're like, oh dear Lord.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like
How
maybe.
do we get anything done?
I know, it's moving so fast. It's like, oh, I just built that. Now I have to revibe code that. Now it's like, okay. But yeah, that would be great. Thanks, Josh. So this is about 3i Atlas. Then you have your text inputs. And then you have a number input, a drop down. Oops. And basically this is what it will look like. So this is the form preview. This is about 3i Atlas. Hello, I'm the spaceship called on Earth 3i Atlas by humans. Let's say this is about 3i Atlas. You can communicate
We could probably just tweak the knob and turn it off.
this.
No, so the speaker is connected to a different mic altogether.
This one?
No, the other one.
This one?
Yeah. Okay. The knob on top of the speaker, that's the one I would leave the mic on first.
It's like, speak, you know.
The other speaker.
It's on this guy. He's maybe towards.
This is like hot or cold. This guy.
When you're warm, now you're hot. Now you're hot.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah. Hello? All right, we're good now.
Okay, communicating with 3i Atlas. Yeah, direct, right? It's like, come in, Earth. Yes, we hear you. We hear
All
you.
right, NSA, we know you're here.
We hear you. Yes.
Send fork and
Okay, I'm just gonna disclaimer. This is a role play for fun, like our
God
friends,
bless USA.
like our friends on the spaceship, who are traveling for fun. Okay, so all right. Now we're going to go to my 3i Atlas communicator scene where I did all of the previous stuff that we talked about. We're going to start a new chat. And then your chats come up on the left over here. Whoops. 3i Atlas communicator. I'm going to add my form in here, and you can imagine that this is an embeddable, we have an embeddable capability for this. So this is about 3i Atlas. You can communicate with. Disclaimer, this is a role play for fun, like our friends on the spaceships who are traveling for fun. So what's up, space travel dudes and ladies and y'all? There you go. Hello, I am the spaceship called on Earth 3i Atlas from humans. This I just put in as an example. And oh, I didn't put anything into the drop down, but you could put that in. So again, this is for users. And then we're just gonna send this to the pretend 3i Atlas. So the form actually comes up on the top, so a user will be able to see what they input into the form, and then the form on the bottom, they don't need it there. They can continue, so they can start with a form, and then they can continue their conversation. And I'm aware that needs, I just noticed a tweak or two. So, what's that?
Clear preference.
What's that?
I have a very clear preference.
Which is?
Just look.
Oh, yeah. So then this is the response from the fake 3i Atlas that is not real, not coming through anywhere. And then we've got our copy button here. One of the things to remember is that we use Markdown, so when you copy, it's going to be a whole Markdown experience, those of you that know Markdown. And then or if we wanted to copy the answer, we can do the copy paste and then paste that wherever you want into an email. Or this is the fun part, is that you can actually share this. So we're building in, right now this is kind of a little bit clunky, if you will, but we're building in, and if anybody has feedback or ideas, a messaging style for this. So basically a person can start their conversation, and I use this for, what is the term that we must use, for nonviolent communication with my family, because my family and I sometimes don't always use perfectly nonviolent communication. So this has really helped, where I can express in any way that I want, the way that I'm emotionally feeling. I get 2 different responses. I can even have the AIs discuss my response with each other, and that helps me to be able to clarify, just like a translator, what it is that I'm trying to get across in nonviolent communication. I can go here, I can share it, and then share the link in a copy and paste. Right now I'm emailing it up and back and WhatsApping it and so on and so forth. So those are the basic walkthroughs today that I wanted to go over. And again, this is the AI 2.0 multi-model approach. When I mentioned the AI 3.0, I would love to hear if anybody has any perspectives on what's coming next. But it's a very interesting time. Things are moving fast, and in my opinion, finally. It's kind of nice to see these things move quickly, especially when those of us that are ahead of the game, like in this room. And this is one prompt, the QR code. If you guys want to hop on, feel free to do that. It's, like I said, it's free right now, and we hope to maintain a very reasonable user experience as we go forward. And our kind of financial model is something that we're looking at for more embeddable programming, serious use cases of this, just like these guys as an example. So this is Awala. Hello, how are you?
network connection is successful. Let's start charting.
Hey, I love that.
Nice. I love that.
Haha. I'm glad to hear that. What are you enjoying?
I'm really enjoying talking with some new friends today about artificial intelligence.
Haha. That sounds exciting. AI is such a fascinating topic. What aspects of artificial intelligence are you discussing with your friends?
So as you can imagine, that conversation can continue forward. And one of the use cases that we're looking at for this is these early stage, if you will, robots. So not as early stage as a Grandpa Rumba, but kind of stage 2. And this is a branch off from the whole like I will have a robot in your house washing your dishes in 15 minutes. It's kind of like there's some of us who want to take this gentle and slowly with a more ethical and understanding approach and are okay doing our own dishes. This is just a little bit of a refresh about what we went over today, from being an actor to a director, from a muggle to a magician, scenes, personalities, and forms. Here's an example of a share link of a similar conversation to I had today. If anybody wants to actually kind of jump into there, then you can have your own conversation. You will have to sign in, but you will have your own conversation, and I will not be able to see that. So it's kind of the future of blogs, we're thinking, where you read a blog and instead of just making a comment with a bunch of people, you actually have your own full conversation with that blog. And then you can even send back and post your link of saying, well, after 3 hours of talking with the artificial intelligence about this, blog and conversation that was just started about 3i Atlas, I actually think that they're on their way to McDonald's. Maybe this is not sponsored by McDonald's, in order to get cheeseburgers, because it's clearly they can't get that in other parts of the universe, blah, 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 whatever direction you want to go. We talked about Hopscotch AI, and this is for other folks, or when we actually reach people that have interest in going deeper into elegant AI. And there's a beginner, intermediate, and expert course. So people that want to actually become an auditor and determine for other websites or users whether or not their AI is actually similar to like a LEED certification, is what we're looking at, is that it's a natural AI and that it follows the elegant AI approach, and then what kind of score that they get. Feel free to email me with questions, comments, or jokes. And tonight we leave with a in real life example, because part of our ethics is based on that. So this is actually one of the, I always like to take a deep breath. This is a portable humidifier. It's all water. It's just water. And so the idea is to come back from the digital universe and feel our body, take a deep breath, go for a walk, get outside. And today in Las Vegas, it is so incredibly beautiful with the snow outside. So I hope everybody gets to see that. Is there any questions, comments, concerns? Yes.
Thank you so much. You are so amazing. I'm an older lady, and I started like
Can I hug you?
55 for real.
Oh, thank you.
For real.
That is so nice.
I'm 55, so like in high school, I learned data entry, and we started off with zeros and ones. And if you messed up your code, you had to go all the way back. Nothing like how it is now. And so I've gotten a lot of invitations to work for the AI, like give my information to help build the AI. And I never wanted to do it because I don't want to add to a platform right now that's not human, and that's something that's going to be setting the precedent for later. But seeing your presentation and being here has really given me hope that there are still people out there who just not just straight robotic, that they're actually still keeping the human side of AI. And my daughter dragged me along, she drags me along to all this stuff because like I said, I'm older now, and I'm like, I don't want to go. It's nothing in it for me. So when I'm here, I'm finding out a lot of people here that are my age and grew up in the time that I grew up in. And so it's very enlightening to see that you are keeping the human side to it. And I really appreciate it. And I'm going to make sure I email you, because if you want someone to help build your platform, I would love to be a guinea pig and to help put into something that's so profound and positive for our future, for my children and my grandchildren, and many generations that is coming after us, because we are the settlers. Us of the 70s, we're coming from the old school to the new school, and then our children. If we don't leave a legacy for them, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I really appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much that means to me, as the first time, like I said, that I'm giving this talk. So yeah, I'll definitely get your information. And what is your name?
Miss T.
Miss T. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Miss T. Thanks, Miss T.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions, comments, thoughts?
I just have,
Josh.
So I've been working on trying to launch 1,000 companies in parallel versus series. So I've got an M3 Ultra now with more RAM than a computer should have, and I'm giving it access to an entire email server. So my question to you is more just musing. How do you think this will go over the next 30 days? If we let the robots all have corporate email addresses and interact with the rest of the world at my pleasure?
Well, I guess I would ask you, my first question is, what do you think about this philosophy? Like elegant AI style?
Yeah, well, I think that we're seeing, as you're using the framing of AI 1, 2, and 3, which I think this is the first time I've been exposed to that. I think AI 2 with the multimodal makes an enormous amount of sense, especially because what we're finding is, like, for example, with Claude Code, I prefer it heavily for programming or anything structured. For OpenAI, with the abstract, it's a lot better. So there's a lot of aspects of AI that you don't get if you just stick with one model at one time, even if it is a vision and language model. So being able to layer those and almost as processes and sub-processes before that human loop, so that way the point of contact is so valuable, insightfully, like, is enormously, like, so I think you're dead on with where it's heading.
Absolutely.
Thank you. In light of that, I would say, as long as you did your best in your way to apply this to the work that you're doing, I say, like, let it loose.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's got keys to a server, it can make its own email accounts, go do some nice
Yeah,
things.
let it loose, you know? It's like training an animal. So I work with horses and highly intense dogs, wolf dogs. And basically, there has to come a point of trust. And there's, I don't want to call them rules, but guidelines of saying, you know what, like, I've done my best to train this German Shepherd in this way, and we train this German Shepherd in this way, and now I can let her off leash with the trust of paying attention, and that's the active human in the loop. So part of that theory is saying that I'm here, I'm watching, I'm paying attention. I'm not saying, hey, I'm going to let you go walk yourself, come back in 2 hours. That would not work. But, to say maybe with, the way that you're doing it, maybe whatever your check-in is, whatever you believe that your human in the loop should be. And again, I'm not coming to the world and saying that we should all check in like hopscotch every single, time you should be able to check in. That's my personal example. Your example might be, I have no idea. It might be once a month, once a day, once a week, whenever you can. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, my thought process is to have all process one import, export. So basically every hour on the hour, they all exchange messages, run their things, and come back.
Yeah.
Changing in the car.
Yeah.
It's like push the lever, 5,000 emails pass, look around, is anything on fire?
Yeah.
All right, again.
Sounds
Anyway.
sounds great and fun. I'd love to see how it works and what happens. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I guess I'll just offer in that is, I think in AI 3.0, and I started just touch on this, but one of the things that I'm I believe may be possible that we're going to be likely seeing is how to take all of that data that we're seeing that comes up, because now there's this, it's kind of like when cloud servers came out, and shout out to one of my bros that created that. But basically the idea is like, all of a sudden it was, oh, I can take 30 pictures and videos in this one single moment, because I can just upload them all to the cloud. I don't have to worry about how much storage I have on my phone. And so the amount of information that was being uploaded on a consistent basis increased exponentially, just with the mental ideology that we as human beings had a bigger storage area for it. So now we're in that next evolution of artificial intelligence of saying that, okay, I can have these conversations that go on and on and on, and go on Midjourney and go on Higgsfield and make video and picture after picture after picture after, and so on and so forth. And so much information can be created. And from an email perspective, it's like now you can send 5,000 emails in 12 seconds, or 6 seconds, depending on.
The local NVMe drive, we're going to find out what the bottleneck.
Yeah, you see what see what the speed is. It's like, this is what we're doing live in Las Vegas, is seeing what the speed. How many emails can you send at a time? 250,000. And like they're all talking to each other and responding. So then to be able to like take that, I think the next step, I think we've reached the pinnacle of information expansion, because now it's kind of like this, like, whoa, what is even out there? I don't even know. So now we're going to start to see, okay, how do we boil that down into something quick, fast, and easy that you as the controller can actually look at and read a reasonable report that actually makes sense to you and is quick and only takes a moment or two. So that's, I think, where AI 3.0 is going to go. We're reaching the other side of the mountain in the Taoist perspective. It's the
I think we haven't even seen the beginning yet. I think this is all foreplay.
let me just clarify. I'm not saying that within a time frame. I think that after the full expansion, if you will, of this part of the universe of AI, and I'm not saying I know how long that will take. Okay. I'm like that could be, I have no idea, 20 years, 50 years, it could be 100 years. I have no idea. But I think that it is likely that after that we're going to start to see a compression of information. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. So, cool. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Honestly, that was a great talk, and I liked the perspective, because like I never thought of it, but like the personalities and scenes, and where you said like you're probably different maybe at work than you are with your family, and I know like that's very much a different thing that I never thought of, like having the AI behave in those different modes and scenes and stuff. So I really appreciate that. But again, can we get just one more round of applause for Greg? Well, that wraps up this session, and the next session that we'll be doing is going to be a little bit similar in the AI sense, but more of like the lessons learned, the practicality, like critically thinking on how you can use it, and especially using it like in the workplace, right? Because a lot of companies, they want velocity, they want throughput, but how do you actually do so and do so in a proper way that the company gets what they need, but also you're not always just like overworking? Because I don't know about you, but like since AI, I feel like I thought it was going to make less work, but I'm just doing more work now. And so Aaron Allen will be doing the session next month. So we're very excited for that, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you.